Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new podcast. My name's Gary, I am going to be your host, and I'm joined by the rest of the male counterparts from Capital Content. Guys, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Charlie. I am production assistant.
Hi Charlie, lovely to have you on board.
And I am Chris, the head of production.
Hi both of you.
Hi.
It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah.
So we're starting a new podcast. It's all a bit weird, right? We're in a dark room with lights on. Now the idea is that the girls have a podcast, right? Team Social, they have Capital Convo. It's doing really well. They're on like season 3. They've got the Streets video episodes as well. Definitely go and check that out over on our YouTube channel, Capital Content's YouTube channel. But we felt like we were missing out, right? We want to do our own, bounce back of a podcast, but we don't want it to be exactly the same, right? We are obviously male. We have trouble talking about our feelings and stuff. So this is a pilot. We're going to start with something nice and easy, and we're going to generate a whole bunch of ideas and see if we can talk for the next 25 minutes that is in an engaging way, so you guys can have a listen, tell your friends, and then go and listen to the girls one, and we'll just see how it goes, right? So, everyone have a good weekend?
Very good. Yeah. Chilled.
That's good. I had an amazing weekend. I got a hole in one.
Hey.
Amazing.
I lost my shit. I almost fainted. I'll tell you the story, right? I was at Hobridge Golf Club with a mate called Stanley, right? And absolutely pissing my rain. Fourth, I'd started quite well. Like I'm medium shit, right? I'm medium shit at golf. I started quite well. The driving range was really good. I was like, yeah, man, today's going to be a good day. And then, then we got to like the first couple of holes. I was like, oh, actually, I'm hitting it relatively straight. This is not so bad. So I got to the fourth hole and I hit it. I hit the ball as you do in golf, and it went dead straight. And as it hit the ground, it started rolling towards the green. And both me and Stanley were like, oh.
Yeah, as the crowd does.
But I generally didn't think it was going to go in. It was just like rolling generally towards the hole, right?
Yeah.
And then it rolled and rolled and rolled. And then I just saw it go bloop into the hole. And oh my God, I absolutely lost my shit. I was basically riding the golf club round like a horse.
What was the par on it?
It's a par 3 course.
Oh,
right,
wow.
so
how far was that?
It was maybe 120 yards, I reckon. So it's not long.
It's not huge,
no,
but still
hole in one. Honestly, I absolutely fucking lost my shit. I went. We kind of. Well, I was just hanging around on that hole because I had nothing else to do because I already got the ball in. But then the guys in front of us came over and he goes, "Did you just get a hole in one?" I was like, "Yeah, you probably heard. Yeah, you probably saw some idiot riding a golf club.
You're famous there now."
Yeah. I didn't tell anybody in the clubhouse because you're supposed to buy a round and it's like cost of living crisis and all that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah.
So obviously I had a great weekend, right? And I played. I still even today I play the footage in my head of getting this hole in one.
Yeah.
Right. It was nuts. So the reason I bring it up is. It's from all the way back to the beginning is hobbies, right? I never had a hobby. This is the reason why I play golf now. I've only been playing for 6 months. People don't get a hole in one in their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Get it after a few months.
get it after 6 months. I'm like, sweet, golf,
Beginner's luck.
completed, mate. I don't need to do it anymore. But I've never had a hobby. I played in a band in a past life, a long time ago. But in the last 15 years, I've never had a hobby, right? And if I look back over my Instagram feed, it's basically work and Garrison, my son, right? That's all it is. So I never really had anything that I had as my own, go out without the missus, I never had a hobby. So I was talking to Stanley about it, over 6 months ago. Why don't we pick up golf? I want to get to the point where when I'm retired, I'm actually medium good, not medium shit. So I picked up golf. And then obviously I got this hole in one, completed golf, right? And I had a dinner with a mate yesterday, and they said what I should do is reward myself with something quite big and quite different because a hole in one is a massive thing. You know, it's a like I said, it's a once in a lifetime thing to get a hole in one. And he said, why didn't you get like a massage? It's like I've never had a massage before, quote unquote. I've never gone to have a massage before, and that does seem like a big reward thing to do, right?
You never do it. Yeah, you would never think of doing that.
No, I would never think to go and treat myself to go and have a massage, let alone treat myself or reward myself for my own hobby outside of work. You reward people in a business with commission or with promotion or pay rise or whatever, but you never think about rewarding yourself in a big achievement in your own hobby
outside of work and stuff.
Yeah. So what I've done is actually I'm doing a free home trial first, but I'm going to get some new glasses. Because that's quite a big thing, right? The glasses that I'm wearing right now, classic hipster, big dark rim ones.
Yeah, do you think you can get the borders any bigger?
Yeah, I've been looking, right? But what I'm doing is I'm going to reward myself with some new glasses because that is a big thing. It's actually an image change. You know, it's such a change to have different glasses. So that is my reward. So my question to you guys is, firstly, we'll start with Charlie. What is... do you have a hobby? You know, I could be your dad, right? I'm the age of your dad. So, and I don't know if it's a generational thing that, you know, we're roughly the same age. Yeah. I don't know whether hobbies were a thing, you know, when growing up when we were younger. But being the millennial zennial that you are, do you have a hobby? And really, the question is, you know, are there any major wins in that hobby that you would then have to want to reward yourself? Have you ever thought about it? So do you actually have a hobby?
Yeah, so I tried like the physical hobbies. That didn't work for me. I failed at every single one.
You mean like playing football on a Sunday? Kind of thing?
Or like judo, like stuff like that. I tried all of that because my parents tried to push that to like me to get into something physical.
Judo, that's a classic after school thing.
Never made it past yellow belt. But then so after all that I was just like, right, gaming, because like I'm not massive...
board games, you mean like Steps and Ladders?
No, just like, I've got a whole setup now, like over just years of just playing games and stuff, and like there's a lot of people that play similar games to me, but
okay, wait, let's break this down. So you got like a mega PC, right, and like a gaming mouse.
Yeah, keyboard, lights up, the whole thing.
Okay, cool. You get loads of ladies, right? But so you've got like a big screen, and is it like, you know, you got your own handle, you know, Star Lover 69 kind of shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say about gaming, especially today, is there's a lot more risk to it, and like in certain games, it takes a long time to achieve like certain levels and certain goals. And it's almost like when people see that you've achieved that goal, then they're like, oh my God, like he's really good. And it's like getting a hole in one or something.
Okay, so the recognition is the reward.
Exactly.
And what type of games are we talking about so we understand?
Oh, well, like the first-person shooters and stuff like that, yes.
So you're just playing against people online?
Yeah, playing against people online.
Or just randoms?
No, I love playing like PvP, like person versus person, instead of...
Well, is that one-on-one, is it? Or
no, like big
actual
games.
People. Okay.
But like, I mean, I'm going to sound really nerdy right now, but I play League of Legends, like, not regularly.
Is that like Superman and Batman?
No, it's like a bird's eye view game. Honestly, I could talk about it for hours, but the main reason I brought it up was like you spend in one game alone, it's 5 people versus 5 people, you can spend like 45 minutes to an hour in one game.
Right.
So putting all that time into one game and then potentially losing that game, it's very stressful. It's like high risk, high reward.
Yeah, sure.
And you can get rewarded really well, but then you can also have a bad loss, and it can actually affect my mood very badly. But yeah, that's how it links, I guess.
So do you, let's say in these first person shooters like Call of Duty-esque stuff, right? Is there like a big achievement? Do you go, you know, you've achieved this thing, you've beat the Nazis or whatever it is, and you take your headphones off and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm number one in Surrey or whatever it is. Is there that kind of thing?
There's like levels, like there's like something called prestiging. and
Right.
stuff. So like reach level 50, then you prestige, level 100, then you prestige again. And
Sure.
like some people that live in their basement probably eat pizza all day are like prestige 20 or something.
Okay.
But it's like having that, so when people see your profile, they can see all these trophies, if you will.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, like that's like your reputation, if you will, right?
Do you care about it enough to reward yourself in the real world? Do you go, let's say you got to prestige 20 or whatever, would you go, mate, I can't believe I got to prestige 20. I'm gonna reward myself with going and getting an ice cream, or with a weekend away, or whatever it is.
In my mind, the game rewards you because
Right.
Through leveling, then in most games it will then reward you back with like items or whatever the game is. Most games do this, where it will give you back stuff that will make your experience more enjoyable, and you can only achieve those by leveling up and getting that and unlocking stuff. So in that respect, I never really go, oh, I won this game, I'm going to get a takeaway.
Well, do you know what? I mean, it's funny because you're right that my hobby, quote unquote, is in the real world. Not to say that yours isn't in the real world, but it's an online game, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, then your reward is an online reward. I've never played computer games. I've never, maybe a little bit Super Nintendo in the 90s, right? I never did it. But you're right. I don't think I would, care about the achievement enough to reward myself in the real world. I think the takeaway is a great example.
Yeah.
Because that is a nice reward. That is a treat.
Yeah.
What's good is that out of us three, we actually have three very different hobbies, right? So, Crispy, you obviously had a little bit of success over the weekend as well. So tell me a little bit about your hobby.
My hobby.
Well, it's not really a hobby, actually. It was actually, it's slightly different, right? Because there is a sense of, progress in this, right?
Yeah. So I'm in a band, and I probably started. I didn't start the band, but I started playing probably 9-10 years ago.
Yeah.
As a bass player, it was kind of like that was the last instrument that anyone could that was left to play.
Yeah.
I had never picked up a bass before. Mates and my wife, they were singers and they were drummers, guitarists. So there was the bass that was the only thing left to play. So that I picked it up and joined the band for that reason.
Yeah, it's funny. When I played in a couple of bands, the very first band, which was like a school band when I was like 12, that was the exact same story as me. No one else wanted to play the bass. I was like the guy who lived around the corner, Gary, can you come play bass?
Yeah.
And that's how I became a bass player too, right? And this is actually quite recent as well, right? It's not like you've been doing it 20 years. This is still...
10 years, 9-10 years.
Oh, okay, right. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been great. We've had some really quiet sort of years where we haven't really done much, but we have recorded singles.
Yeah. Done a music video.
And then we had this competition, like a rock week competition at the weekend, where it was on for 3 nights, 4 bands per night.
Okay, cool. So 3 different heats.
Yes, 3 different heats. So there was obviously then the 3 winners, and we came runners up, which now means that we go to a final next Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Exciting.
Okay, cool. So you're through to the final of this. Is it Graham Still Music, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely. If you're in and around the area, go and check it out.
Yeah.
Name of the band, just while we're here.
Cloudcat.
Cool. Cloudcat Official, I think, is the Instagram.
No, I think
is
you're
it?
right.
Yeah.
You know better than me.
Yeah. So again, is there anything? And actually, yes, it's the final next week. Is there anything that you would reward yourself with? So let's say, for example, you win the final next week. Yeah. Would you, as a band, then go out and celebrate? Would you go?
I don't know.
Get drunk.
Yeah, I suppose
probably get drunk that night. Right?
Yeah.
I think before we've never done anything like that. I think if we were to win, then I guess we would. We've never really spoken about it. I think rewards that I've probably done for myself is like when we started, after my first few gigs, I'd reward myself by buying a new bass.
Yes.
And
again, that's a change thing, like the glasses, right?
Yeah.
That's an image change, and an everyday remembrance, right? You look down at that guitar and you change.
And I think it was a reward that I could actually then play the bass. I'd been playing it for a year or so on a £200 guitar, and then decided that I'll go to Fender.
Actually, you're up to prestige number 10.
And spend some good money and get a bass and something that would last me for ages. So I've rewarded myself throughout the band journey.
Yeah.
But as a band, we haven't. So I think we would.
Yeah, I think it's as a business owner, you try to reward success, and I very rarely reward myself with success. And I try. For example, we did the company awards right over Christmas, Chris Spee was actually Employee of the Year, which is round of applause. It's funny. The reason I bring up this topic is that I think girls in general are better at rewarding themselves, or better at treating themselves, or self. Whatever,
like a pamper day or something.
Yeah, that's right. Go out and do your nails, or not to like generalize whatever. But there's very rarely would I go out and treat myself.
Groom your beard or something.
Yeah, so I think as guys, we probably generally. As the general male population, we need to be better at rewarding ourselves for things that isn't just work. I sometimes I worry that I never would have thought about rewarding myself for a hole-in-one. Right, and if I really think about hole-in-one, it's massive. It's huge. Like I said, it's it's even if it was a short hole, you think to get the hole-in-one, to hit the ball perfectly in distance, in power, in direction. It is an absolutely once in a lifetime thing.
That you need to get
the wind, the rain,
winds,
the wetness of the grass.
Well, and it was that wet, so like I'm assuming this happens where the ball lands, it will stop quicker, won't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, honestly, so I have never rewarded myself. I've never achieved anything outside of work like this before, anyway. So I think the key reason I bring it up is I think men should be better. I don't think we do it ourselves, and I think if just going around the table over the last 10-15 minutes, actually, you haven't really rewarded yourself in the real world around achievements in the hobby that you really enjoy, put loads of time in, and yourself. You bought the guitar, but in a big win, like at the end of the like winning the Graham Steel Music Comp, as a band, you haven't even thought about someone should say, actually, if we win this
is what we should do.
Let's all put 50 quid in a pot. We'll go for dinner. We'll get an Airbnb or whatever. Because it's almost like that cherry that you think, I'm really going to try to really smash it because I want to celebrate it rather than the actual win itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do in this kind of pilot episode, and hopefully it makes a cut, was just a couple of topics. We're no one really cares what kind of our point of view is as such. So I really, and we also want to get to a point where we're talking a bit more emo, right? Because that's probably what people really want to care about. And we also are all part of the same agency. What I wanted for this podcast is maybe to have 2 or 3 topics that we kind of talk through. The first one was about reward in the real world and our hobbies, and actually, men should be able to reward themselves when they have a sense of achievement, right? But the next topic that I have is attention span, and I watched a movie yesterday, and it was called The World's Greatest Beer Run. I don't know if you've seen it advertised. There's nothing on Netflix.
What platform is that?
This was on Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
So I sifted through all of them, right? I sifted through, Netflix, Prime, Disney, Paramount, got to Apple TV, and there's nothing on from a movie perspective. So we watched half a trailer of The World's Greatest Beer Run, and we're like, okay, cool, we'll chuck it on, right? So the rough premise is it's got Zac Efron as the lead, and this is like the first time we've seen him on screen after the weird broken jaw face thing, right? Because you remember there was a few pictures of him looking like a spitting image puppet.
I think he's done Getting Down with Earth or something. He did like an eco-friendly thing, but that's probably the only thing.
That's right. That was like a documentary, back of the car kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this was a movie, and it was set in during the Vietnam War. So the soundtrack's really cool, and I quite like the Vietnam War vibe of movies. Obviously, I'm not pro-war. That kind of stuff, right? I'm obviously not pro-war, but what I mean is like the movies they make about Vietnam War is very cool, quote unquote. You look at Good Morning Vietnam, for example. That's an absolute banger. Anyways, it's based at the Vietnam War. Zac Efron, bunch of mates, they're all like mid-20s. Not all of them have gone to war. I don't understand why not all of them have been drafted, because him and a bunch of mates are still there. He's a lazy bum, pretends to go to church, sleeps in till 3. Dad hates him, still lives at home, kind of stuff, right? And then a bunch of his mates, 5 or 6 of his mates, are over there fighting in the war. One of them dies. They're all sitting around the bar having a beer, and they have this chat. It's got Bill Murray in as well. He plays like a barman, which is really cool. He's very a small, really small part, but really good. And basically, they come up with this idea, or they joke about, it would be great if we could go and give them a beer to say thanks for fighting for your country. It'd be great to just, cheers them a beer. So, and he's a little bit drunk, and he goes, "Oh well, I could do that. I could go and take some beers to the guys in Vietnam and just cheers, thanks very much," And everyone's like, "Yeah, don't be, whatever, waster." The long story short, he gets on a boat, takes 2 months to get to Vietnam, and he carries like 100 beers in this satchel that he's carrying around, and he goes and meets 4 or 5 of his mates around Vietnam, and has a beer with them. And sometimes they're like just sitting in the barracks. Sometimes they're actually in the middle of like fire in the war zone, in the trenches, and they're having beers. This is a true story, by the way, because at the end they bring up the photos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And then so the reason I bring it up is that when I first pressed play, after 5 minutes I paused it and said to my wife, "Is this rubbish?" And because it was. The first 5 minutes is a bit shit. And we were like, "Oh, well, we've been through all the platforms. I can't be asked to go back through it all again, try and find something." It was already 7:30 or whatever. If we start any later, it's going to be too late. So I was like, "Okay, cool. We'll just press play." And by the end of it, I was like, "Actually, no, this was actually a pretty good movie." Right? I only got, it took me 5 minutes to pause and then go, "Oh, this is shit." But at the end of it, it was actually really good. And it was less about him taking beers around and more about him seeing the real war versus what the press were showing back home, and how that affected the American public versus actually why they're in Vietnam. And it was all about, they were going, "Oh, but it's the war, we're trying to save the world with war." It's like, well, yes, in World War I and World War II, you were saving the world, but the Vietnam War, what are you actually saving? And that was the question around it, right? Anyway, the purpose of this topic was about attention span. And I feel that my attention span it's like a wick, right? It's gone all the way down now to like 5 minutes, real short form stuff that I should have just given the movie time and not had to have paused after 5 minutes, because it was a really good movie. And I think, well, again, we're in a unique position where, go back a bit. The reason that I think my attention span has dropped is because of the short form content.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's because, I watch a lot of TikTok and Insta Reels, and that 30-second little endorphin hit every time I swipe, that's shortened my attention span. I should just be able to watch a 2-hour movie without picking up my phone. We're in a unique position, us three, that we've actually got 3 different levels of TikTok usage, right? We've got Chris, that you're not on it.
No.
We've got Charlie. Occasionally, you might not create, but you watch.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm on it 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Which is a pain. So what I'll ask you, Charlie, what's your relationship with TikTok? Right? Because for me, I'm fucking well addicted, and I really need to delete it because it's wasting time for me. I'm trying to be healthier. It's that January-esque thing, and what I do is I wake up and I watch half-hour TikTok. What I should do is do half-hour yoga or half-hour weights or whatever. So what's your relationship with TikTok?
At first, I was a strong hater in it. Like, I was like, the last thing
I was definitely anti it. Yeah.
The last thing I'm going to do is give them money and install this app. But then after a while, like because I go on to like Instagram shorts and stuff, and I watch all the funny stuff, because that's like, I don't know, it brings up my day, makes me happier and stuff. But like a lot of the memes, if you will, that were coming from Instagram shorts and YouTube shorts and stuff were actually from TikTok. So I was like, oh, why not just go to the source?
Absolutely.
I have got it, but I'll watch the time that I'm on it, because like it is addictive. I'd never do any dances or anything. That's
no, you're not a creator, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's not funny. It's sad. get that little, I can't stop. I look at the time and I go, okay, 5 minutes. I give myself 5 minutes. 15 minutes later, I'm still looking at it. And it's so addictive, So do you feel your attention span is shortened because of ethereal content like this?
100%. And I can remember, it's funny this topic's come up because I can remember when House of Dragons first came out. I can remember very specifically you coming in. It's like, has anyone watched it? Because like I normally will look at my phone and then anything or like do something else whilst it's on.
Yeah.
But you said to us you were completely cling to it.
Yeah, I was.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So and I've started it very recently,
Right.
and I've got the same thing.
Yeah,
like, I will normally like play, I don't know, like a game on my phone whilst I'm watching.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, in my corner of my eye, I'm watching the TV.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I've got the same thing. It's always got my attention, so it's kind of opened my mind to like a lot of long films now.
Yeah.
Can actually grab your attention.
Absolutely, yeah. And Monks, why? Head of video for a digital agency. You're not on TikTok.
I know, that's the thing.
I think you probably had a quick look at it, right?
I have it on my phone, and I think I mainly got it for work.
Yeah.
Just looking at Premiere Pro.
Yeah, hints and tips. Yeah, that's
that
right.
Sort of stuff. But I don't know. I guess I don't want to be on it all the time.
I don't want to be on it either.
Yeah, and I know that if I did, from what you say about it, I'll be on it all the time.
Yeah, man.
So like, I've got Insta, I've got Facebook and stuff like that. But again, I have a look at that. I never post. I never do anything. I'm quite good at just not being on my phone when I get home from work.
Yeah.
I don't go on my phone. I'll watch telly.
That is rare to find.
Yeah.
I try really hard not to, and I think it's the same because my wife's the same.
Yeah.
But if not,
that's right. Actually, Emma is not necessarily a social media person either, right?
No, she might do the odd post here and there, but I just I just don't go on it. If I go on holiday, I won't look at my phone.
Yeah, right.
I just don't look at my phone.
I have trouble not looking at my phone.
Yeah.
I'm attached
I think
to
most
it.
people are like that.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So there's this thing that I saw on the news the other day, and it was about the different type of content that we get served versus what China gets served, right? ByteDance, who own TikTok, right? Chinese company, and obviously there's a lot more control over the media that the Chinese public see than that we get to see, right? So we, as in like Western civilization, get served any and all content, right? It could be the dances, it could be silly memes, it could be cars doing a burnout, it could be anything, right? We see all of that stuff. Yeah. And right through the ages, the algorithm is amazing. It blows me away how good the algorithm is.
It's also a bit dangerous though.
Yeah, I can watch, a few seconds extra of one particular theme of video. All of a sudden, straight away, I've got the next 5 videos are that thing. It's so quick. It's so quick and so precise. So we get served all that content right from any age, right from 14 up to 65, whatever it is. We see all content. In China, I think it's China anyway. In China, they for the ages of like 14 to 18, I think it is, they get served science lessons and mathematics videos and engineering stuff, right? And they only get to see it for 45 minutes a day, I think it is as well. So what ByteDance are doing, this is crazy, right? What ByteDance are doing are serving tutorials, training, teaching, engineering, mathematics to kids in China, but then in America they're serving them dances and Starbucks and all that kind of stuff. So it's such, imagine if the US were doing that. Imagine if the US was serving training and stuff like that to their kids, and then serving all the bubblegum stuff, the chewing gum stuff to China. It's like a massive corporate conglomerate trying to brainwash kids in different. It's nuts, right? So what frustrates me, we're kind of slightly going off topic here, but what frustrates me is that the app could be used for good. And still be as big.
But people won't be as interested in the app.
But that's because But to play devil's advocate, that app could have always have been a training or learn for kids kind of thing to make it engaging. People create engaging mathematics content, for example, right?
Yeah.
So it could be done, but it's because over the years, because it used to be Musical.ly, right? And then it changed to TikTok. Whoever did that brand...
Yeah, it was
changed,
Vines or something.
Yeah. And then whoever did that brand refresh... absolutely killed it because now it's like, it's one of the, there's more searches going on TikTok than there was of Google.
Well, there's like a TikTok awards.
Yeah.
Like the Grammys and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I think I love TikTok. My attention span has definitely been burnt down to something shorter than, what it used to be. I am getting close to deleting it, but I haven't bit the bullet yet. Yeah. What I'll probably do is reward myself in the real life for deleting the TikTok app, right? Yeah. So yes, that topic there was about attention span. I think we, as a slightly older generation, should be okay with longer form video, longer content like movies and stuff without having to pick up our phone. Yeah. I am not. You are better. Yeah. And then as a younger generation, I think you've grown up with the internet and you've grown up with a smartphone with a full screen. Yeah. So it's not frowned upon as much to be into short form content. We obviously sell short form content as a product.
You can't get away from it either. So
yeah, you just got to embrace it.
Really.
Yeah, you got to embrace it. Otherwise, you end up being like those 90s kids where their parents didn't let them watch Grain Chill.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Cool. So that's my two topics. So have either of you got a third or final topic that you might want to have a chat about?
I had, I saw something on Brewdog the other day on LinkedIn. James, I think he's the owner of it.
Yeah.
A while back they did a competition where you buy a pack of Brewdog and they had a gold can inside.
Oh, yeah.
If you got that pack delivered or picked up, then... that gold can will give you £15,000 worth of Brewdog shares.
Yeah.
So he had posted loads about it over LinkedIn, Twitter, everything. But what he made a mistake in saying that it was real gold, and it was gold plated. The can.
Oh, right. So he said it was solid gold.
He said it was solid gold, and that you could win this. And then
did he think it was solid gold?
He thought it was solid gold.
Right.
Yeah. And
someone got fired for that.
Yeah.
And well, what happened was, he did this. They had the winners. I think they had 50 cans in total, and they had all this. And then people that had been following him and seen his tweets saying this is real gold, then said it's not. And then he realised it wasn't. He thought it was, and he made a mistake. Oh, no. So what I read was he had admitted to having this mistake, and he was like, well, what do I need to do? I need to fix it. Like the ASA got involved or something, and it was really bad. So he was, so what he said is he contacted all the winners and said, look, what I'll do, because of this mess up, I'll give you £15,000 in cash.
To the people who'd found a can?
To the people that had the can. And if they wanted to take it, they could. If they didn't want to take it, they'd still have the £15 worth of shares.
Right.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? The Jet.
Oh yeah,
the
Pepsi Where's My Jet
come out on Netflix. Mm-hmm. There's a whole documentary.
Yeah, I started watching that. Yeah.
And so that's a very similar case, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. But what was good about it is he kind of said like it was his mistake that he thought it was real gold, and he decided that the money that he pays to everyone is coming out of his own money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because luckily he's fortunate enough that he said it cost him like just under $500,000.
Yeah, right.
But he's fortunate enough to say that was just over 2 years worth of salary, so he's $200K plus a year.
Yeah.
But he said he didn't want, because of his mistake, he didn't want the company to have to take
lose
the
that
hit.
reputation and stuff.
And I'm sure for him, he'd get his money back, but he was like, he's just spent $500,000 just for him,
just to repair a mistake.
Getting too excited about something. He said he didn't think about it enough, and then it's cost him $500,000.
Yeah, that's funny, eh? I mean, it's not funny. It's a £500,000 mistake. But I think for Brewdog in particular, he's just got past this whole the staff hate him shit.
Yeah.
They just it all like the dust has settled, and I think they've got past it all. For the listeners there, there was a thing maybe. I don't know, it must have been a year and a bit ago, where there was a really bad culture in place in Brewdog, and I think like 50 ex-employees got together and wrote an open letter about how bad it was for employees at the Brewdog, and it absolutely ruined the reputation. It was all derived from him. The shit falls downhill, right? And then they'd obviously, massive backlash, and I haven't heard or seen anything about that issue for a good 6 months now, right? Yeah. And then this shit happens. He must be like, for fuck's sake.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't do one thing right. I've just lost $500,000. Like it's a bit of a kick in the teeth.
Respect to him though, because he
had to do this.
Yeah.
I think because of you're absolutely right. I think because of the shit that went through with the staff thing, he couldn't take that money out of the business to pay his mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
So he just owned up to it. But yeah, what ball ache.
Yeah, I wonder if they employed a PR person off the back of the bad staffing issue they had, and then that person stayed on and then said to him, mate, you fucked up with this gold can thing.
Yeah.
You got to pay for it, mate.
You're going to take this advice.
Get your fucking checkbook out. Cool, man. So I've really enjoyed today's little sesh. I think, although it's supposed to be a pilot to see how well we've done, I think actually this could be episode 1. So listeners, you are listening to episode 1. Hopefully we've spoken about a few things of interest. We've kind of brought about rewarding yourself and men not rewarding themselves as much as they should be doing. We all definitely will now be focusing on our next achievement in our hobbies. Yep. Short form of content, the attention span has definitely been burnt on my side, but I think we need to embrace it and enjoy the short and the long form. And then Brewdog, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Sort your shit out.
Thanks so much for listening. This has been Pint Half Full. Asterisk, you don't have to have a drink. If people say, why aren't you drinking? It doesn't matter. You don't have to drink alcohol. We've got water, coffee, and sugar-free Red Bull here. So although
nice
we call on a Monday morning, although we call it Pint Half Full, you don't have to drink. Don't feel that pressure from other people, specifically men, saying why aren't you drinking? Oh, lightweight, woo. Just have a water, have a coffee. It don't matter. So thanks so much for listening. You can get your podcast injections from anywhere you get your podcast from: Google, Spotify, and Apple. Don't forget to check out Capital Convo by Team Social for Capital Content. The girls have a great podcast over there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, guys, for being guests. And we will see you again soon.
See ya.